being here. I'm very happy to be here. And special thank you to my lovely family that came today. My name, as she said, is Maria Alejandra Mea, and I am a double major in International Studies and French. And I work with Dr. Flynn, and the title of my research is Exploring the Role of Corporate Social Responsibility, French Corporations' Compliance, and Future with Corporate Social Responsibility. I'll refer to it as CSR very often, so I don't lose you guys. So my research question is, how and why has corporate social responsibility arisen in recent years, both in corporate and scholarly jargon, and how France has implemented CSR initiatives in both the public and private sector? So, CSR can be very challenging to define precisely because it is a set of business practices, an idea, and a set of societal expectation all at once. Many authors from business reviews and from scholarly work have defined it in different ways, but I came up with my own kind of understanding. It's the core understanding of CSR is how businesses and corporations relate to society. So in 2015, Cone Communications conducted an online survey that with a demographically representative sample around 9,700 adults that were proportionally around 50-50 men and women that were all over the age of 18 from 9 different countries. And through their findings, they found that 91% of the global consumers expect companies to do more than make a profit, but also operate responsibly to address social and environmental issues. Among those findings, 84% say that they seek out responsible products whenever possible, and that 90% would boycott a company if they earned an irresponsible or deceptive business practices. In other words, this means that what a corporation does outside of making profit is important to the global consumer. So for my literature review, I traced the emergence of CSR through this condensed timeline that I created. In 1946 was the first mention of responsibility in a Fortune magazine survey that stated businessmen were responsible for the consequences of their actions in a manner that's extended beyond profit and loss statements. An amazing amount of 90% people agreed with this statement. Then in 49, Bernard Depsy wrote The Roots of Business Responsibility in a Harvard Business Review, and 2 months prior to that, the dean of the Harvard Graduate School of Business Administration at the time wrote The Business Responsibilities in an Uncertain World. To them, they called upon business leaders to become more engaged with the public and in ways that were beyond economic functions, and they regarded those as fundamental to contributing to society. In 1953, Howard Bowen, who is credited by different authors such as R.G.B. Carroll as the father of corporate responsibility, wrote the social responsibility of the businessman. In his book, he refers to the obligations of businessmen to pursue the policies, the decisions, and follow those in line of action that are desirable in terms of the objectives and values in line with their society. In 1970, the publication of Social Responsibilities of Businesses was made by Moral Hill, and in the same year was a time where Milton Friedman, who was renowned to be a critic of CSR, debated in his publication in the New York Times that the responsibility that businesses have is already with profit, so that there is no need to extend beyond the profit brought to the society by business. In 1999, the Businesses for Society Responsibility organization was founded, and to this day they do annual conferences in which they create dialogue and how businesses can keep their society responsibility. And in 1996, the organization CSR Europe was founded, that works with thousands of companies and organizations to create a global dialogue and how to implement these initiatives. In 2000, the United Nations Global Compact was created, and it encourages businesses worldwide to adopt responsible and policies that are both social and environmentally friendly. They have around 9,000 companies and around 3,000 non-governmental organizations within that compact. And in 2013, the United Nations Human Rights in Businesses was created. So my thesis is I argued that the implementation of corporate social responsibility in Europe, particularly in France, has begun to result in a positive observable outcomes, and it serves as a noteworthy example of corporate social responsibility in the works. My research design is a qualitative case study in France. I chose France particularly since I am a French major as well, so I really was interested to combining both of my careers into my thesis, but also when investigating CSR Europe in particular, I noticed that France has implemented CSR efforts with this organization, and they have 4 national organizations within CSR Europe, as well as they have implemented policies within their legislations that use CSR explicitly. So, CSR Europe was founded in 1996, and they have 53 corporate members and 45 national organizations, as well as 10,000 companies. Their latest publication is called Bringing the European CSR Strategy to the Next Stage in 2015-2019, where they outline the 5 goals of giving European CSR a human face, balancing CSR compliance and innovation, the European Pact for Youth, putting employees at the heart of European CSR strategy, and creating a pragmatic strategy that supports capacity building. They also have an Enterprise 2020, that's a world-class movement with 40 national partner organizations that was first launched in 2008. And they also work with projects under the umbrella of the European Alliance of Corporate Responsibility. So, France. In 2007, part of the NRE Act that was adopted in 2001 was the first legal framework in the French Parliament to adopt CSR and SRI, which is socially responsible investment that were made in the private sector. This law is also known as the Law on New Economic Regulations, and this graph here shows the difference between 2008 and 2011. There was a 59%, from 59% to 94% increase in the amount of reporting and regulations done in corporations. This framework that's called the NRE Act was later created